Visit us on the web at www.coolwavepictures.com/radio.
Wavelength Radio presents The Mackenzie Show with Brian Mackenzie.
He's calm, he's cool, and he's collected. Here's Brian Mackenzie.
Hooyakalea moo moo! And welcome to The Mackenzie Show. I am your host, Bronco Nagurski. Wait a minute. I don't look like some kind of behemoth Chicago Bears fullback from the 30s. No, I am Brian Mackenzie, that's right, and you are listening to Wavelength Radio, which is linked to www.coolwavepictures.com. Welcome to the show. It is Wednesday, August 4th. This is our second broadcast, and we hope that you stick around and enjoy the presentations. And we do have some upcoming shows after the Mackenzie Show. So sit back. And if you have any thoughts, doesn't have to be any topic that I might bring up, but anything that you might want to rant or talk or mention or anything at all, feel free to give us a call at 1-877-835-1937. Okay, well, I'd like to start the show off. Last week, since it was our first show, I guess I wanted to save this for our next broadcast. I just want to dedicate this this particular segment to my father-in-law, Donald Dalgleish, Professor Donald Dalgleish, who passed away on July 7th of this year. And I really, if you could just bear with me just one moment, I just want to give just a brief but exciting overlook at just part of his life. So I'm basically just going to be reading for some notes from this. Now, Douglas, he was drafted for military service, but he did choose to enlist in the U.S. Army Intelligence Service, for which he was stationed in Nuremberg, Germany, through 1954 through 57. And as we as we should know, is during those years, as he would say, the Cold War was very hot. And he found himself in some definite risky situations. He handled four full-time operational and administration responsibilities dealing with military intelligence. During his time, he also attended the University of Munich as a Fulbright scholar from 60 and 61, and also met his wife, my mother-in-law, Krista. After he was discharged, honorably of course, and returning to the U.S., Douglas earned his master's degree at Columbia University in New York City and achieving his Ph.D. at the University of Colorado. So we are obviously we're dealing with a very smart man. I'll call him Professor Dalgleish, is the first Sicilian professor in military science history of the Reserve Officer Training Corps or the ROTC. He's an accomplished author of a massive book called Trident, which is a detailed look at our Trident nuclear submarine. It's quite the read. I think I might have made about 4 pages before my brain just cramped up. So it is quite the read. In his 40 years, he was at Arizona State as a professor and taught Air and Army ROTC in the areas of defense policy, Soviet studies, U.S. foreign policy, and has had an instrumental in providing the background in these studies to ROTC cadets for their future military service. Now, if I can only read as well as this is typed out, it would have came off a lot smoother. But he was a great man. He made friends instantly. 40 years as a professor at a university, I'm sure he affected a lot of lives, and that was shown at his service. So I just wanted to let some people know about a great man who resided in this particular area for quite some time. So, God bless you, Duggan, and we'll miss you. Uh, and also, what I like to talk about is one of the last adventures that me and my father-in-law and my wife Elizabeth took back in April at the Scottsdale Air Park. They brought in some World War II planes. One was a Consolidated Liberator B-24, a B-17 bomber, and the P-51 Mustang, which was one of the smaller fighter planes. And we were able to get on to the B-24, and that is, let's see, it's that big one on the bottom. Okay, now, the one thing that when you're looking at this plane is it's big. Sure. When you get up close to it and you get underneath it, you can see how big the bombs were that they were carrying and how minimal the space was inside. You basically had to crawl to each section of the plane. You could easily get caught in a traffic jam. You basically have to go up to the belly of the plane and then climb. You'd probably have to bang your head about 10 times. I swear the pilots and the crew of the plane, they must have had a regulation on at least your height, because it was pretty tight. And so you have the two pilots right up front, and then right behind them is a radio person. Right next to him is another soldier, and it's this really cramped space. And what we were able to do before the plane actually took off was just check out. They had the gun turrets, where there would be a guy laying in the back right at the tail of the plane in a little bubble with a machine gun. You had a bubble machine gun on top, and you had two open air windows with machine guns, and probably the most exciting and dangerous one was the bubble on the bottom, because if the wheels go out, what are you going to do? So, upon taking off, it was a very loud flight. You couldn't talk to really anybody without screaming. And the one thing that was really cool about the whole trip was that once the plane got off the ground, you were allowed to go throughout the plane, which you can't do on a commercial airline. So once the plane got up in the air, everybody was scrambling to go see what it's like to lay down in the belly of the plane and just imagine fighter planes coming at you. And to be on the bottom bubble, to be in a bubble underneath the pilots, and also above in the plane. It was just an incredible experience. And also on the side of the plane were two machine guns. They weren't real, of course, but there was no window. And so I found myself flying over Fountain Hills, taking out, pretty much half of Fountain Hills. And that was, basically the whole flight. It was something I'll never forget. Something that it's too bad most people won't experience. Just a slight inkling of what our servicemen went through back in World War II. So we'll say a prayer for all those who have died, those who are fighting now, and we support you till no end. And we'll be right after this, and this is the Mackenzie Show.
You're listening to Wavelength Radio from Cool Wave Pictures.
Visit us on the web at www.coolwavepictures.com/radio.
Wavelength Radio presents The Mackenzie Show with Brian Mackenzie.
He's calm, he's cool, and he's collected. Here's Brian Mackenzie.
Hey, what's up? This is the Mackenzie Show. I am your host, Brian Mackenzie, and we are at Wavelength Radio at www.coolwavepictures.com. And if you have anything that's on your mind, you wanna call in and give us a little talking to. You want to talk about if you ever got a chance to fly in a B-24, or even maybe drop some bombs. Give us a call. The number is 1-877-835-1937. And we'll be waiting. Ripped from the headlines. Finger in butt crack sparks knife fight. This is in Dallas. A Dallas woman touched her friend's buttocks, sparking an assault and attempting stabbing, police said. The alleged incident happened at an apartment in the 1700 block of the Trade Winds Drive in southern section of blah, 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 blah. According to the police report, 20-year-old Lakita Maddox rubbed a finger along the victim's butt crack, prompting her to clench her buttocks. The victim, The victim claimed the clenching caused the bed she was sitting on to break, angering Maddox. A fight ensued in which Maddox repeatedly hit the victim before grabbing a butcher knife and threatening to kill her. According to the report, she said, "Are you ready to die?" The alleged victim called police and the suspect fled. Officers found no viable injuries on the woman, who I guess apparently pulled up her pants and needed no medical attention. And it's not immediately clear if the police arrested Miss Maddox, which also rhymes with, well, that doesn't really rhyme with buttocks. But what the hell, lady? I hope you washed your hands. Okay, and before we get to our next headline, we do have a caller. And what's on your mind? Speak to us.
Yes, I was calling. This is Joe from Mesa, Arizona.
Hi, Joe.
I just wanted to see if you'd heard about that plane crash in Cali.
Yeah. Well, I only heard briefly about it, that a plane was heard sputtering and crashed into a fireball. Apparently, the rescue crew and paramedics were out there quite quickly. It happened near the airport, so I'm sure that they were ready. Well, they were close by, but I didn't hear anything about any survivors, which I'm not sure of. So, do you have any updated news on that?
No, not really. Just curious about that, because I live in that area and I heard it on the KTAR, and I was listening to your show here briefly, and I didn't know if you guys knew about that.
Oh. And what do you do? What do you do, Joe, for the town of Mesa? You keeping it clean and safe?
Well, I try to. I work for the city of Mesa. I'm a mechanic for their large vehicles mechanic.
And is it true that they say that mechanics who work on large vehicles have small joints that they smoke before working on their vehicles?
Well, my wife doesn't tell me that.
Well, maybe your wife smokes the big joints. All right, Joe. Well, thank you for the call, and we hope to hear from you down the future. And good luck to you. Okay, what do we have next? We have a man with 18. Do you want to guess? 18 of them. If you guessed monkeys, you're right. A man with 18 monkeys in pants detained at Mexican airport. A 38-year-old man was detained at the Mexico City airport after officials found 18 TT monkeys, 2 dead, you bastard, in his pants. Now, I feel safer already about international travel, since I can't get on a plane with the little tube of a toothpaste or some personal lubrication. But this guy gets through and gets arrested for having 18 monkeys in his pants. Okay. And here's something that made me laugh. This happened a couple weeks ago. A family is trying to enjoy a Philadelphia Phillies game. Let me repeat that. A Philadelphia Phillies game. Not a Yankees game. Okay? Let's see here. Matthew Clemens of Cherry Hill, New Jersey, pleaded guilty in May to charges of assault, harassment, and disorderly conduct, and was sentenced to 1 to 3 months in jail, 2 years of probation, and 50 hours of community service. The maximum penalty was to be 2 years in jail. Let's see. Clemens was taken into custody after family court judge Kevin Doherty sentenced him, and several family members burst into tears because they must have been so proud of him. Mr. Clemens was participated in vomiting on a specter and his daughter. Let's see. The spectator and his daughter, and it says here that the spectator that he threw up on was an Easton police captain. Nice choice. And he also puked on his daughter, which apparently has traumatized her, and she never wants to go back to the ballpark. Nice. Your team's losing, you get loaded, and you throw up on a little girl. Oh boy. And I tell you, the irony of it all is that it happened to be on a off-duty police captain. So when you're going to regurgitate, just keep that in mind. Do I really want to get into this one? I'll make this one quick, because... Come on now! Softball player Sioux City... Yeah, that's tough to say. Softball player Sioux City for $5 million over a broken finger. This is a New York girl. Brooklyn. Come on! What? Apparently, taking a little fielding practice, this poor little damsel caught the ball, which seemed to injure her finger, and she let the coach know about it, and the coach basically said, well, suck it up, and you can finish practice, which, I don't know, that's all I ever heard growing up. And you wouldn't even have to be told that most times. Now, she is 16, and I'm not sure, I don't know, whatever. But she broke her finger, and it hurts. And now she's going to sue the city of New York for $5 million. $5 million for a broken finger. Okay, after that story, this is exactly the story that I need. Antarctic explorers Sir Ernest Shackleton's Scotch whiskey recovered. Buried in ice for a century. 100-year-old Scotch. I'm pretty sure I won't be able to get my hands on an actual bottle of what was ever left in the crate. But what they are going to be able to do is duplicate the Scotch recipe. So we may all participate in a Scotch from Mr. Shackleton, which was an A&E special back a while back, if you want to look that up. All right, so any questions or comments about the $5 million broken finger, 100-year-old freaking Scotch? Give us a call, 877-835-1937. And leave those monkeys alone! This is the Mackenzie Show.
You're listening to Wavelength Radio from Cool Wave Pictures.
Visit us on the web at www.coolwavepictures.com/radio.
Wavelength Radio presents The Mackenzie Show with Brian Mackenzie.
He's calm, he's cool, and he's collected. Here's Brian Mackenzie.
Okay, we're back. Live with The Mackenzie Show on Wavelength Radio, where you can find us on www.coolwavepictures.com. You can shoot us an email at radio@coolwavepictures.com. And if you heard anything that has intrigued you so far during the show, please give us a call at 877-835-1937. We covered $5 million broken fingers, monkeys in the pants, fingers in the pants, all that good stuff. So, but first I'd like to take the time to tell you what our upcoming programs are. After the Mackenzie Show, at 7 p.m., we have Happy Hour with Cameron Cooper, followed by the Patrick Adams Show, 8 p.m., and 9 p.m. is the Round Table, where surprise questions are given to our panel for scary answers. So you want to tune into that. And we also have shows for tomorrow, Thursday, August 5th, at 7 p.m. It'll be the Dave Show. And after that, it will be the 8 o'clock show, The Life and Times with Chris and Cody. And I believe they have a special guest tomorrow in studio. Lesbians! It'll be the Lesbo Power Hour. So you might want to listen to that or check out the live feed, which you can also find on the www.coolwavepictures.com. Okay. Let me just take a sip of agua. Okay, sports portion of my show here, of the show. Contract status of 2010 first-round draft picks. Anybody out there have an opinion on this? 877-835-1937. Terry G, or Tommy I. Maybe you want to give a call and see what you think about this. Let me just read the top 10 draftees who have signed. And actually, there's only 8. So there are some more greedy bastards out there. Now, these are guys that are coming out of college and have not played one single down of NFL football, which is like going into hyperdrive from college. You're going from playing 18, 19-year-old kids into 28, 27. Did I go backwards? Should be 27, 28 as they get older. Mean some bitches playing for pay. Sam Bradford, the quarterback for St. Louis, signed a 6-year, $78 million contract. $50 million guaranteed. 50. I'm on the first one, and I already got a call on the line. Who am I speaking to? Go ahead.
Hey, this is Bo. I called last week. I just wanted to chime in on this. You're talking about the St. Louis Cardinals?
The St. Louis Ram.
St. Louis Rams. St. Louis Rams. And you're talking about who they signed for $50 million?
He's got a $50 million guaranteed signing bonus.
Jesus. See, that's the problem with sports. Sports are way too, they pay way too much, to play a game. But that goes to the free market. But they pay way too much to play a game. I understand you're talented, but to pay that much is just ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree. I think they plan on this, bringing in a lot of people. It's definitely a money draw, but Now, what can Sam Bradford guarantee?
Sam Bradford can't. He's a rookie. He can't guarantee anything, and especially coming out of the St. Louis Rams. I mean, they're one of the worst football team in the NFL right now.
Yeah,
so
I
mean, they got to put asses in the seats. I understand that, but that's the sign of doing big deals. Not going to put asses in the seats.
I agree. I think, among veterans against any opponent, any veteran defensive lineman who's not getting that kind of money is definitely going to be a little more inspired to give him the old welcome to the NFL.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, especially because he was a lead player when he was in college. I mean, he was hurt several times.
He got hurt his last year.
Yeah, they're going to go after him. They're going to try to hurt him. He's not a big guy. He can't take hits like with the guy from the Lions. He can't take hits like him. And they're going to go after him. They're going to try to hurt him.
Okay, well, thank you for the call. What I'm going to do is I'm going to keep a list of this top 10 by my desk, and I'm going to follow these guys, for maybe the next year or 2 years, just to see who has panned out and who has who's actually earned the money. But thank you for the call, Bo, and we'll come up with another topic, and hopefully we'll hear from you next week. And if you anybody else have any questions so far on this, it's 877-835-1937. Number 2 on the list is unsigned, so God knows what that'll be. Gerald McCoy, Tampa Bay, defensive tackle, signed $63 million contract, $35 million guaranteed. Trent Williams, OT, that's offensive tackle, for Washington, the Redskins, signed $60 million, $36.75 million guaranteed. Eric Berry, strong safety, Kansas City Chiefs, $60 million, $34 million guaranteed. Number 6, unsigned. Joe Haddon, quarterback, Cleveland, signed 5 years, $50 million, $26 million guaranteed. Number 8, Roland McCann, linebacker, Oakland. Now there's a team that always makes good choices. 5 years, $40 million, $23 million guaranteed. Where's Jamorca? Or Jamarcus Russell, whatever. And let's see, C. Spiller unsigned. And number 10 we have Tyson Alulu, defensive end, Jacksonville, $28 million, $17.5, the lowest guy in the top 10. So for guys who have never stepped on the actual NFL football field, there has been invested $222.25 million in guaranteed money. And from what I've seen over the years, as the motivation to get to that money is to play college football, play hard. What I see sometimes in players is the demotivation that comes with guaranteed big salaries. Now, there's a guy out in Washington who's guaranteed $30 million this year, and he can barely make it through practice, huffing and puffing. Now he's hurt and complaining. I can't remember. Hainsworth, I think, is his name. And if you look back, you can see the busts. The Ryan Leafs, and the list goes on and on. I don't have them in front of me, but good for them. I'm not making $50 million guaranteed. But that's cool, And I guess sorry. See, last sports topic will be the Arizona Diamondbacks could open the 2011 season in Taiwan. So that's going to take a little bit more looking into. I have the article here, and we'll pick that up right after the break. Stay tuned. This is the Mackenzie Show.
listening to Wavelength Radio from Cool Wave Pictures.
Visit us on the web at www.coolwavepictures.com/radio.
Wavelength Radio presents The Mackenzie Show with Brian Mackenzie.
He's calm, he's cool, and he's collected. Here's Brian Mackenzie.
Less conversation.
Hey, what's up? Brian Mackenzie here, The Mackenzie Show at Wavelength Radio. We can find at www.coolwavepictures.com. We got about 10 minutes left in the show. If you want to queue up and give a call about any of the topics or anything that might be on your mind, or just give yourself some practice calling in the radio shows, you know you want to. The number is 877-835-1937. And we look forward to hearing from you. We had a nice call from Bo, the last caller, discussing his opinion about the high prices of professional athletes. The headline I was getting into before we went to break was the Arizona Diamondbacks could open the 2011 season in Taiwan. And this is what I understand on the Indian Band, and I know we're going over the internet. This is going national, but worldwide, beautiful. But strictly here for Arizona, right down on the Indian Bend, they are building a new state-of-the-art spring training facility for the Arizona Diamondbacks, which will be running in 2011. And what's being proposed is so the players don't get worn out. They're going to take 2 weeks of the spring training season to organize these games in Taiwan. That's 2 weeks of no revenue for the stadium that I'm pretty sure the taxpayers had something to do in building. From what I understand is that they're going to take a few days off. They're going to play some spring training games. Then they're going to take a couple days off and get down to Taiwan, along with the San Francisco Giants, who's also a big draw in Scottsdale. Okay? And so both teams are going to be out of spring training, which draws in millions of dollars in just a short period of time. So what the MLB powerheads are thinking is that we're going to take these teams down to Taiwan in the middle of the preseason, during preseason, and they're going to play a couple games that count towards the regular season. And then they're going to take a few more days off, and then they'll finally fly back to Arizona and finish out the rest of the spring training schedule. So I know this is all in the goodness of getting the market out there and selling our wares across the world. But I don't see how it can interfere with our economic situation that's going on right now, that we should be building new stadiums for teams when the team isn't even going to be there. So, I don't know. It just really doesn't make any sense to me. Okay, and let's see here. What do we got? What do we got here? All right. Oh, yeah. We're going to do just a brief music section here. What we have here are thoughts by Elvis Presley. This is Thoughts by the King. Religion is like music, man. You experience them, and then they both move you, baby. All right. Thanks, Elvis. Okay, if any Stevie Nicks fans are out there in the Scottsdale area, which I believe that she used to live around here, I guess her mother, across from the Hotel Valley Ho, in a bedroom house built in the 50s, there's the Silver Spring Emporium, owned by Nix's mother Barbara and run by her cousin. And the college, like Antique Shop, has a long history in Scottsdale, and its grand opening was in November. So apparently they have a lot of her stuff. If you're into collecting stuff from Stevie Nicks. And speaking of Elvis, last Thursday was the they're doing some 75th anniversary. I think it's been going on, but they rebroadcasted in select theaters the movie, the Elvis on Tour movie, which actually won a Golden Globe. Certain segments were directed by Martin Scorsese, and it was interestingly filmed. They had, sometimes you had double and triple images on the same screen. So you'd have an Elvis, and then maybe the drummer, and then you could see the background singers to get it more of a collective look. It's not one of my favorite films. It was filmed during like a 72, 73 season. He looked good, looking thin, but you could tell the puffiness was starting to set in, and it just kind of steamrolled from there. The songs are great. The performances were great. There was a couple of Elvis impersonators there. A lot of young kids. So Elvis is going to just carry on into the next generation. It just goes on and on and on. And I love it. Now the interesting was that when you're in an air-conditioned theater. It might be raining, and it did drizzle a little bit outside, but it was pretty hot that day. And then when the rain came and the rain stopped, and you open up that theater door to go outside, it is boom! Like getting punched in the face. The heat just comes over you within 2 minutes. 2 minutes, 2 seconds, you're just in a ball of sweat. Your hair's messed up, and you look like a sweaty slob. So, what are you going to do? You hope you have a date at that moment, because after that, then forget it. So, we have 1-877-835-1937. We're getting ready to wrap up the show. I'd like you to stay tuned for Happy Hour with Cameron Cooper. We do have the news at the top of the hour. And I'd like to leave on a happy note. I don't know if anybody's seen the movie, but I liked it. Here's a Paul Blart fun fact for you. Beetles taste like apples. Wasps taste like pine nuts. And worms like fried bacon. Learn it, know it, live it. I appreciate you hanging out and listening or watching on www.coolwavepictures.com to the Mackenzie Show. Please stay tuned for Cameron Cooper with his happy hour. Thanks again, and we'll see you next Wednesday for another edition of the Mackenzie Show.
Listening to Wavelength Radio from Cool Wave Pictures.